Aloha and welcome in, guys. Friday, Saturday night, weekend. It's actually Saturday night, but it's the weekend. I'm old and I lose track of the time. All right, let's get started. Last week, I did the midweek wrap up, so that's going to save us a lot of time here, and we're just going to get straight to a lot of the picks. But again, I will say, again, for the big five, we did have a losing week at 2 and 3. But the three all were so close. We're not getting the blowouts. We're getting the ones that if you're teasing them, if you're plus or minus 6.5, 7 at the different, like we go to the MGM. And by the way, we're going to start using the MGM lines. The ESPN lines are too broad and too slow for the catch up, is what we're finding, especially with the half points. But anyway, we are going to start using the MGM line when we're giving you our picks. But that being said, let me just, I got to grab my book because I'm going to touch on all the games, not just our picks. All right, guys, sorry about that. I forgot my papers, my sheet for the lines. And real quick, guys, as we always do, let's get started with an anonymous quote attributed this week. Let's get off sports for a second, guys. I'm so sick of what's going on with the politicians. The politicians, they're just unhinged. They're unhinged. They're provably liars. They forget that video lives forever. But I think that their theory is that if they throw enough things at the wall, some things stick, and it doesn't matter that you can prove that they lied. What really comes of it? Nothing. So along those lines, an anonymous person said, if you can only be good at one thing, be good at lying, because if you're good at lying, then you're good at everything. And the minute I heard or read that quote, I was like, that's Gavin Newsom. Just my opinion. I'm just saying. Another famous politician from, of all places, the Ukraine, said politicians are accustomed to replacing inconvenient truths with convenient lies. Spot on, no? All right, enough of the politics. I just wanted to touch on that. The guys, we're all smarter than this. We all are human beings. We can all take care of each other. We are not divided as they keep telling us we are. Stop believing the politicians. Start getting in the place leaders, people that will do things right and do things good. You don't have to like them. You just have to understand that if they're doers and they get things done and it's positive for our country, who cares if we like their personalities or not? All right. Enough with that. We are going to go into a couple of things this week. So first of all, I wanted to talk to you guys about parlays. So there's a quick something that I don't know if people understand or figure out. Let's take a 4-team parlay as an example. We'll use a 4-team parlay real quick as the example of what I'm trying to get through to you. Okay, so a 4-team parlay in any casino, online FanDuel, they're going to fluctuate because some houses or casinos will give you a little bit more of an edge to get you to come play there. But that being said, a 4-team parlay generally hovers somewhere between 9 and say 12x. So if you bet a 4-team parlay, first of all, you need all 4 teams to win, and then you win, and then you get about, say on the high side, 12 times your money. So $100 bet, or let's go a $10 bet. A $10 bet will get you $120. What I'm proposing, that to me it would be easier to do, but you have to be patient, is pick one game a week. And then if you can do like one on Saturday, one on Sunday, that works as well. My point is that if you love a game, but a lot of people like to force parlays. If you're only doing the pros, like we're only touching on pros every week, the board's very limited, right? You only have so many games to choose from, so you're forced to take a game. And generally, that's a lot of times the game that kills you on a Monday night, Sunday night, whatever. And you're like, God, if you would have just left that one off, right? So here's my proposal to you to be smarter: is if you bet, say, $10 on the parlay. So this week, from Thursday through Monday, the board is so humongous that you're going to be able to find one game you completely love and that you're on the right side of. So bet that game, right? $10, whether it's $10 or $100. Now, week number 2 or day number 2, you have another big ginormous board again that you're picking from. Double that bet. So last week you got your 10 plus your 10 back. So take that 20 and plunk it down again. And now if you win that second one, it's doubled to 40. The third time it's doubled to 80, and the fourth time it's doubled to 160. That's 16x. So no matter whether you're betting $10, $100, or $1,000, it's 16x. You're removing a big house edge or adding a huge edge to your side by taking it from at the low end 9 to high end 12 to 16x. But you have to be patient throughout the time but your board is much bigger. Okay, so that's one of the things I was going to tell you about. The other thing, if you saw the advertisement on Wednesday, we're going to go ahead and attempt, and I'll let you know at the end of this one, we're going to take $200 and do exactly what I just told you. We're going to bet it this week, and then if we win, we're going to bet it the following week and win, and bet it the following week and win, and we'll keep track. We'll show you the tickets. And we figure if we can get to 9 in a row, you're talking about paying off your car money. We're talking about literally changing most people's lives money. But the beauty is, you're only at risk for the 200. Now, there's going to come a time throughout, whether it's week 4, week 5, week 6, that you've got it in a row, that you're going to get nervous, of course. I would say that, when you go from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32. At that point, you're kind of crazy if you don't take off 1,000 for the next 5 times you do this, especially if then the next week you lose. So yeah, pinch a little, but understand that every little bit that you pinch along the way costs you huge when you win on the back end. So again, it's everybody's fortitude, everybody's the ability to absorb all the stress is different. Your I guess your line of what you can and can't handle. But we are going to take that $200. We waited till now because week 1 through 5, week 1 through 6, it's very hard in the sense that we think we know based on last year a lot of things. Problem is as you found out, no one had Indianapolis at 5-1 on their bingo card. No one had Tampa Bay at, well, actually we did, and I'll show you guys the tickets at the end of the if we hit it for our Super Bowl picks. But a lot of people didn't have Tampa, or even like who could have saw Joe Burrow going out and getting hurt? Who would have thought, even though the Thursday night's debacle, who would have thought Pittsburgh is at week 6 going into week 7? In number 1 position in that division with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Again, the injuries, you just never know. This is why we love the NFL. You just never know. So we are gonna do that, and we'll show you steps all along the way. As tonight we've got a couple of extras, sprinkles for you guys. So let's get to it, and let's start reviewing this week. Starting with, we're gonna start with actually the Sunday nighter, which is Atlanta at San Francisco. I just got some update. So Mac Jones is supposedly going to be the starter. Kittles is coming back, the tight end. That's huge. Atlanta is +3. My feeling is on this, we don't have a side on this. I don't believe we have a side on this. Let me double check my notes here. Yeah, no, we don't have a side on it. But my lean is towards Atlanta if you can get the 3.5. If you can get the 3.5, take Atlanta. Now with Kittles coming back, I would say that there's going to be more public money going on San Francisco at home with Kittles. So we like the lean in 3.5 with Atlanta. All right, the next game on my board is Carolina at the New York Jets. This is one of our leans as well. It's a hold your nose lean. Carolina is a different team on the road. Bryce Young, I believe, if I read it correctly, if I remember correctly, is like 1 win, 19 losses on the road. So they're a different thing because they blew out Atlanta 30-0 at home. They gave Dallas all they could handle last week and pulled out an outright win. But on the road, they are a different team. The Jets are bound to get their a win here. It's almost, I mean, it's not as hard to go 0-17, 0-16 as it is to go 17-0. It's much harder. But mathematically, it's like they say, it's harder. It's just as easy or hard to pick 17 right as it is to pick 17 wrong. That line of thinking, understanding these guys are all pros, and even the dumpster fire, the Jets, like last week with almost not even 100 yards in total offense, almost still pulled out a win on the international road last week against a contender in Denver. So the ball bounces funny in this game. And so if we had the lean, it's a sharp side. The New York Jets are plus 1.5 to 2 at home. We would lean on the Jets, but we hold our noses the whole way. So understandably. All right, so that is the next. The next game on our board is New Orleans at Chicago. Chicago coming off an amazing win on Monday night, thanks to Jaden Daniels and the running back fumbling the exchange, giving them. Otherwise, they kick the field goal and win by 5. And that's an interesting, because we had a lot of Washington. We had it on both sides. I'm telling you guys now about teasing and buying a couple of points in your favor. We had Chicago at +6 all the way to up to 11.5. But we had Washington at plus as many as, or not plus, I'm sorry, minus 3.5. 3.5 was our minus 3.5. So that field goal winning by 5, we would have middled and gotten everything. We would have showed you guys all the tickets. So again, it's interesting, and that's something you guys got to learn too, is when you're betting, as we're going to get to our money line parlay tonight that we're going to give you guys as a bonus, you want to tie in. If you've got a 3-team, now if you're doing straight bets, just do straight bets, because one game only needs to win or lose and you're collecting. But if you've got parlays going, I've always learned, if I've got a 3-teamer I love and all 3 are on Sunday morning to afternoon, or even Sunday morning to afternoon and Sunday night even, that's a 3-teamer. Tie in Mondays and make it a 4-teamer. Always take it in such a fashion, like buy points, take the dog, whatever, where you can then take the other side of it. And with a little bit of luck, some of these games are so close. With a little bit of luck, especially like in a 5-6 point spread on a Monday night, where you could get it to almost even or plus a couple of touchdowns for the dog, or even for the favorite, then you can take the other side of it and hope that it falls somewhere from one side of it tying to the middle, where then if it middles, you scoop everything, but you can't lose. And that's the point. You're using house money. So anyway, keep that in mind as you guys are going forward. Anyway, back to New Orleans, plus the 4.5 at Chicago. We don't have a pick on this game per se, but a lot of the sharp money is coming in on New Orleans. I'm sorry, Miguel, number 3, but it's New Orleans plus the 4.5. It doesn't mean Chicago can't win. It just means they're not going to cover the 4.5 to 5.5 that is on record right now. Again, we're going to be using the MGM lines. And MGM right now at 5.5 Chicago. So again, even more so, I like New Orleans plus all those points. The next game is, we did, just for the record, on Thursday, to remind you guys, we said we didn't like the side, but we loved the over. We loved the over, and it came through very easily for us on Thursday, which was about 42.5. Easily made that one over. All right, next game is Miami at Cleveland. Miami is plus 2 points, and I'm calling this the Aloha Hawaii Bowl. Both guys, if you don't realize, Dylan Gabriel, Hawaii boy from Mililani, Tua Tagovailoa, Hawaii boy from Eva Beach, and I'm familiar with both areas, very well born and raised and grown up there. So this is my Hawaii guy bowl, and both of them, oddly, are lefties. So we like this game. Again, at home, Cleveland -2. We love, this is one of our 5 picks. Nothing against Tua, but he doesn't do well in cold weather, and it's starting to get cold. One. Two, weather reports are coming out that there may be 40 or 50 mile an hour winds, which is going to affect both sides actually. But then, so what then do you want your team to be able to do? Run the ball. And so with Cleveland having that new rookie running back, we expect good things from him. Miami's defense is not that good at stopping the pass or the run, but they are definitely their defense doesn't travel well. One, two, yes, they have a killer running back themselves. Problem is that the line has to open up holes for them, and Cleveland at home especially might be the number one defense in the NFL. They're definitely statistically a top 5 defense, but as Colin Cowherd says, at home Cleveland Browns might be the number one defense in the NFL. So that Hawaii Bowl is going to be our first of 5 picks, and we are taking Cleveland minus the 2.5. It's 2. It's -2. There's actually a lot of love and some sharps going with Miami. Excuse me. But we like Cleveland. All right. The next pick, the next game on the board is Washington at Dallas. Dallas is +2. Let me double check this. Nope, Dallas is now +2.5. All right. Anyway, if we had to, we would lean on Dallas. We expect that both sides are going to they're going to be a shootout. In this one, we really think it's that who has the ball last. So again, we would take the points because in a game that you think is going to be back and forth, you definitely want to be on the side of taking points. But what we do like in this game is the over. If you can get 53.5, which is the last time I looked at the posted line at MGM, we like the over-under to be over 53.5 with the Washington-Dallas game. Okay, so but that is not one of our picks. It's just one of our side notes that we like. We like that over. And we really don't have a side in this one. Again, gun to my head, we would take Dallas. But all right, the next game is going to be the New York Giants at the Denver Broncos. New York Giants at Denver Broncos. Denver, we have -6.5. But we know that there's some 7s floating around out there. Either way, it doesn't matter. We think Denver is going to roll big on this game. And so 6.5 or 7, we like Denver. Jackson Dart has not seen anything yet. All right, sorry about that, guys. I had to check on something real quick. All right, so that was our last pick on Denver. We're taking Denver at home. We think that Jackson Dart has not seen anything yet in terms of a voracious defense like Denver's. And we think that, Peyton coming off of a horrible win, if there's such a thing, they performed horribly in international in that game. They almost lost to the Jets. And that we think he is going to have that team, he's almost going to treat it like it was a loss in terms of practices and honing it in and dialing it up. And he's going to show them also the Giants tape that just won against Philly, and don't take this team lightly. And I think Denver and Coach Payton's going to have that team ready to roll. So we have Denver -6.5 or 7. Some of you will have 7. And we have Cleveland -2. Now we're going to get into a couple of... I'm sorry. One more here. The next game is one of our games is Tampa at Detroit. And Tampa is a +5.5. We are taking Detroit. Understand that the line will probably be up to 6 or 6.5. At 6.5, you've got decisions to make. We think that it's going to be a tight game because you've got Baker Mayfield. So what else is new? But we like Detroit off a loss at home. They are going to be ready. The coach is going to have the team ready. The team is going to have themselves ready. And so up to -6. If gun to my head, I think that I would still take Detroit -6.5 all the way up to 7, but we're calling it, we're at 5.5, so we're giving you an extra half a point for those of you who may be floating around at 6. We haven't seen a 6.5 or 7 yet, as far as I know, so we're taking Detroit up to 6. And as I said, awful loss at home. And Mike Evans is coming back, but Egbuka is probably more than likely out. The running back is still out, and they just hats off to Tampa. They've played amazingly, but we don't think that they can keep pulling the rabbit out of the hat, as it were. And so they're going to get to Detroit, and on that fast track, and they're having to travel. We just think that Detroit's going to have the edge in that one. The next game on our board, and a lot of people are picking this game for some reason, but it's Green Bay at Arizona. Arizona is plus 6.5, and we have seen a 7. But gun to our head, of course, we're going to take Green Bay because of all the issues that Arizona has right now. But Kyler Murray is not going to play. We prefer he does, because then this might have been one of our picks. But because it's Brissett, we're not sure as to how the team is rallying around him and this the coach. They keep losing. But this team is scrappy. Buda Baker is a guy that every game matters, and he rallies the defense and the troops. So, gun to our head, we would side Green Bay because we think that Green Bay is a potential playoff team at this point of the season. But that being said, they haven't played very well themselves. And so far, if you ask me, the Micah Parsons trade is a nothing burger in terms of, right now it looks like Dallas won that trade by a mile. If Green Bay doesn't make the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs with Micah Parsons making some noise along the way, and Dallas next year makes it to the playoffs and finds their shores up their defense, solidifies more holes that they have on that team with all the draft picks they got, I would say clearly Dallas won that trade. But, well, again, this is one of those things. It's going to take about a year or two to really, really be able to look back and see who won this trade with Green Bay and Dallas with the Micah Parsons deal. But anyway, moving on, Green Bay at Arizona. Given less than a touchdown, we lean on Green Bay. The next game is, of course, my Seattle Green, and it's Houston at Seattle, Monday Night Football. Houston is plus 3.5. And again, guys, this is not one of our picks, but what I would tell you is that if, let's say you have a 4-team parlay, take that 5th team, let's say you have a money line parlay. Like, I'm going to give you guys a money line parlay at the end of this. And one of the things I'm going to suggest is, but the last team is to put Houston plus the 3.5 as your last leg of that parlay on a round robin money line, with all the other teams are dogs that need to win outright money line parlays. But then if you get that far and you have a bunch of winners to cash out on your round robin, then run back to the place where you lay these and go ahead and look at Seattle with the money line. If you can get an alt line of Seattle taking points because it's such a small line, like 3.5, if you can get one with Seattle plus 1, then let's say you stand to make $1,000 on all your picks coming in, as long as Houston covers the 3.5. Then you have to bet, and let's say you're invested for, say, 200 for all those parlays that are about to hit. You'd have to bet at least the 200 the other way, or bet enough on the Seattle game, because money line you're going to be laying a little bit, but bet enough to take back that 200. You're probably going to be laying 300 and say like $20 or something like that to win the 200. But if you can get an alt line, even better. You're going to be laying some vig. But ultimately, if you can get Seattle at even, now you can't lose both. And a lot of times what I do is I go as whatever I stand to make here on my left, I'll take half that and put it on the right, so that I'm either going to win a little or I'm going to win a lot. But if I can middle it, I'm going to win humongous. Okay, so that's that. We'll get to the moneyline parlay as your freebie bonus at the end there. But I just wanted to touch on that. So far we have got Denver minus the 6.5, Cleveland minus 2, and Detroit minus the 5.5. That's 3. The last two are going to, I saved these for closer to the end because these are going to be hold your nose stinkers. So before I get to the last two, Indy is at the LA Chargers. Indy is plus 1.5. Be careful, guys, on this one. Indy's got a really good record, but when we really took a solid, strong, deep look at it, Indy really hasn't played anybody. Now they're playing really great, and Jonathan Taylor can win this game. If I could see if they winning this game if he goes off for 180 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns, kind of a thing. But where we have it right now, Khalil Mack is coming back. A couple of people off the main guys off the for the defense are coming back. Justin Herbert is running very well. They got Kimani Vidal, who has stepped in for Omarion Hampton nicely at running back. So we've got the senior leadership in the wide receiver Allen. I believe QJ, the big play wide receiver, is coming back, and Lad McConkey is playing out of his mind. So we are leaning towards the Chargers at minus. I'm sorry. Let me double check. Yeah, Indy is plus 1.5. So Chargers would be minus 1.5 there. The Chargers minus 1.5. We're leaning towards them. But again, we're not taking that game. We want to see how Indy does against a stronger other tier team in the Chargers. There's tiers in the NFL, and we think that the Chargers are a tier above Indy in who they've played so far and their quality of wins and losses. The next game, the LA Rams across the pond at the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are the proverbial home team, but they do get a lot of support in this London game. So, guys, we've noticed a trend that whoever the home team is on this international game and who the stadium is packed with, flying the flags and wearing the gear, that's the team that's winning outright and covering. So we've got this one. We're not picking it. We have too much respect for McVay and Stafford, and even with Puka being out, we're afraid of the Rams, and so we lean towards the Jacksonville Jaguars plus the 3. If you can get 3.5, I would consider that my 6th pick if you can get 3.5. But that being said, it's in spite of Trevor Lawrence, and there's the problem. He's the quarterback, and they are winning in spite of his play, I guess, as you would call it. So we lean towards Jacksonville, but no pick on this one. We think that there's better on the board, but plus 3.5, we'd be intrigued. The Raiders are plus right now. We have them they're as high as, so this one's really a big wide. There's a wide berth. We're seeing now again MGM. We're using MGM. MGM is 12, but we've seen 10.5 as up to 12.5. So this one's really tricky. We're not picking this game anyway. If there's some way, we notice, we'll touch on one thing. Everybody who's feeling rough so far through week 6 and going into week 7 is using Kansas City as their survivor pick. Be careful. We don't think Kansas City can lose at home against this Raiders team the way Geno Smith is playing. But there's no guarantees in the NFL. Honestly, I saw the money line, I think, was at plus 1,000. So 100 straight bet. If the Raiders win, will get you $1,000. I'd be almost intrigued to lay if Geno was playing a little bit better. I'd be intrigued on putting $100 on the Raiders money line because Max Crosby gets up for this game. It wouldn't surprise me if he has. What I would tell you is I definitely bet he gets a sack. But if there's a bet for an interception from Max Crosby or a fumble recovery, a turnover, if you can get like 25-1 on it, I would definitely bet that. Again, I'm not going to bet it straight, but if I can get odds of 25-1, if, like, for instance, if there was an interception touchdown by Max Crosby at 55 or 60-1, I would lay $100 on that. Seriously, that's how out of his mind that guy plays. Max Crosby is a difference maker. He's a disruptor. So definitely you would want to put a little bit of because they could still lose badly, but he could pull that bet out. But anyway, in that one, we think KC will win the game outright. But for Survivor pulls us off, we're just saying there is no gimmies in this game. We actually like Detroit. For us, is a better Survivor pick this week, and save Kansas City for later when you're desperate and you really need a closer to guarantee one. We like Detroit this week or Denver this week as our Survivor picks. All right, the next one is we've got Philly at Minnesota. Minnesota plus the 2.5. And on this one, guys, we are taking, hold your nose, it's going to be the Vikings. I guess maybe not hold your nose, because Philly seems to have right now a lot of internal problems, and a lot of it's coming to the surface and making the news. So there is that. We also know that Saquon Barkley hasn't gotten started this year at all. He hasn't had a 100-yard game. Hurt is not playing very accurate. The AJ he's the wide receiver is not happy. So there's just a bunch of stuff going on in Philly right now that has us picking the Vikings, and it's the sharp side this week. We are following the sharps on moves like this, and the Vikings plus the 2.5. There's some places there's talking about if you wait till the last minute, you might be able to get 3, maybe 3.5. I don't know about that, but I definitely would love to take the Vikes at the most I can get. I would probably buy a point here, because that way I can get 3.5. So if the Philadelphia Eagles pulled one out by a field goal or less, then I make it no problem. That is our pick number 4, the Vikings. And the last game on our board is New England Patriots at Tennessee. Tennessee plus 7.5. Oh, real quick, going back to the dogs. On the Vikings, make sure you sprinkle a little bit, just a little bit, on the money line to win outright, because 100 will get you. I'm sorry I didn't look up the odds, but I'm sure 100 will get you something like about $1.60, somewhere around there. Would be about what a 2.5 would get you. So make sure that you sprinkle a little bit on the money line, as well as taking the Vikings plus as many points as you can get. All right, and on our final 5th pick, we like, this one is the hold your nose stinker of the year. I didn't think we would be betting on Tennessee once this year. We are taking Tennessee plus the 7.5. Sprinkle some on the money line, because all the sharps that we follow, and these guys had all the dogs outright this past Thursday through today, the college. My son is going to be posting here at the end. He's going to show you some things that what could have happened. We don't cover college here. Maybe next year we'll start. It's a lot more work, a lot more video. So we don't cover college because it would be double the time. But I'll show you a couple of quick things. In a nutshell, for those of you who can't wait till the end, but my son is going to post a couple of pictures for you to see. But had you taken Cincinnati money line Thursday night, and then on Friday there were 2 upsets with Minnesota, the Minnesota Gophers, and was it Vanderbilt? No, that was today, LSU Vanderbilt. But anyway, there's four college that we had, and Cincinnati on Thursday night. And had you bet and round robin this, actually, because there were 5 total, so you would have did a round robin of any possible 4, so all the different 4-teamers, you would have hit everything. But $100, $100 on these 5 money line straight out, and I'm going to show you another picture where there's 4 of the 5 money line straight out, the 1 pro and the 3 college, would have gotten you somewhere in the neighborhood. It would have gotten you 5 figures. It would have gotten you somewhere. The AI calculates it at somewhere between 11,000 and upwards of 15,000. We'll show you the images. Go ahead and read that. But we're going to get to that, and that's why going forward from this week on, we're also going to, besides our 5 picks, we're going to give you a round robin money line parlay, because in the pros, a dog winning outright is not very unusual. It happens all the time. I think off the top of my head, I would say like it's not unusual for a third to almost nearly half of the board. Dogs are winning. They're at least covering, but winning outright. It's not unusual. It happens a lot in the pros with dogs winning outright. And so that being said, we think that this is a real dog week. And although you can't just I mean, I guess if you have the money and you don't like mystery and you can afford it, just take all the dogs and run a round robin money line. But that's going to get expensive. And for most of us, we're not millionaires, we're not rich, we're not that's why we're doing this. We're trying to get a side hustle and an edge going. So this week, what we like is here's our money line parlay. Now understand, these have to win outright. But I always sprinkle a little bit where I'll do all of these by the spreads. I'll take the points and round robin it, and then I'll do the money line. So I do both. Here are your teams. You've got Jacksonville plus the points. Well, these are all dogs, so plus the points is redundant. Jacksonville against the Rams. We've got New Orleans against Chicago. We've got Minnesota, which is one of our picks, against the Philadelphia Eagles. We got the LA Chargers. Now, that one is curious because there are some places that have them as a 1-point dog. That's why we added them. And you know what? They're such a small favorite that go ahead and throw them in as the favorite. Give the point, or do them with the money line where if they're not minus that much. So, but if they are a dog at your book or at your kiosk, add them in. Atlanta, they're playing Frisco, and they are plus like 3 or 3.5. It won't matter, money line. But we're gonna do, like I said, we do both. So Atlanta, Dallas at home against the Washington Commanders, Denver at home against the Giants visiting, and Kansas City. No, I'm sorry, not Kansas. I'm sorry, and the Raiders. Now the Raiders, I'm only throwing it in there. I do not expect them to win outright. I really don't. But I'm throwing them on this one only because they're such a huge dog that the money line is so massive that if it does come to it's worth it because this is a round robin parlay. If the Raiders lose, it's irrelevant. So you can choose to put it in or not put it in. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to cost you anything extra per se. It's going to cost you how many ways it goes. But if you want it covered, do it. Now then, remember I said earlier in the video, and what I want to close with is, all of these teams are money line, and then I said do a small one to pay for it by taking the points as if they were. And so... but leg it with your last team being Houston, but plus both the money line to do your money line parlay, and then Houston again do it with the plus the 3.5, leg it, and then if you at the end if you can get to whatever you're looking at winning from all these different money line parlays, all of your week winnings, everything that's tied into Houston plus the points, then figure out how much you can bet on Seattle, where you're taking maybe even, so just money line straight out, or even getting 1 point, 1.5 points, where then you can middle. We think it's going to be very close. We actually see this game coming right down to about a field goal. And so, gun to our head, I personally like Seattle, even though they're not doing very well at home, minus up to 3. But a lot of the lines are 3.5. I would have to agree with the Sharps going with Houston. Again, though, your money line parlay and taking the points parlay, but again, round robin is Jacksonville, New Orleans, Minnesota, Chargers, Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, Raiders, and Houston. Do this, though. It's going to ask you how do you want to do these by when you go to the kiosk. And again, it depends on how much ammunition or powder dry do you have for your season. Guys who are very rich can do them by 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. We are being realistic, and we're going to go ahead and do the money lines by 3s, by 4s, and that's it. Just by threes and by fours, and then just one straight out in case they would all happen to come through. But we're gonna do them by threes and fours. I might, when I get to the kiosk, look and even do them by fives, depending on how much it costs. Here's the other thing: by threes, we're gonna do them at $10. By fours, by threes, we're gonna do it for $5. At threes, we're gonna do it for $5 at the three teamer. The fours are gonna be $5, and if we do fives, we'll do $10 because there's not gonna be very many five spots, as it were, the Keno lingo. But it depends on what you can afford. But you can do them by twos, by threes, by fours, by fives. But you want to do a round robin and get in there. We think that the best way to approach this is doing it by threes and fours. So as long as you get a three teamer that comes through, you're gonna cover most of your investment. If you get a four teamer to come through, you're sitting pretty because you got a couple of threes and a four for sure. Five, oh my goodness, you're gonna be elated with that. But anyway, guys, so that's our money line. Again, our 5 picks. Reiterating our 5 picks. We've got Denver -6.5, Cleveland -2, the Vikings +2.5, Tennessee +7.5. And we are taking Detroit -5.5 against Tampa Bay. So that is our 5, and then you've got our money line. And we will check back with you guys starting like we did this past week. We're going to have our midweek check-in to do our midweek wrap of the previous week. And that way saves us time going into the weekend so you guys can get your picks quicker. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, aloha and mahalo. Be good to yourselves. Be kind to each other. And we'll see you guys at the cash window. Peace out.